Hi, my name is Eva Henderson. I chose Silver Linings Playbook as my movie analysis assignment for this week. Let's hop into it. So, this story follows Pat Solitano, who I believe has bipolar disorder. Pat Solitano experiences mood swings, impulsive behaviors, and difficulty controlling his emotions. He also experiences rapid speech, angry outbursts, and struggles with sleep and obsessive thinking, particularly about his ex-wife. These behaviors impact his relationships with others, such as his parents and friends, and his overall ability to remain stable. Silver Linings Playbook identifies Pat as having bipolar disorder. He is diagnosed after a manic episode where he becomes violent. The story picks up after he stays at a mental health facility for 8 months. The diagnosis is made by the mental health professionals during his hospitalization. This film highlights ongoing monitoring by a therapist and court-ordered treatment after his violent episode. The diagnostic process is not shown during the movie. What is the diagnosis criteria for the mental illness depicted in the movie? So bipolar disorder, like I said, is characterized by alternating manic and depressed episodes. A manic episode would include elevated mood, increased energy, decreased need for sleep, and impulsive behaviors. The symptoms for bipolar disorder must last at least 1 week, and the diagnosis requires at least one manic episode. I believe that this character does meet the criteria for the diagnosis. He shows decreased need for sleep, impulsivity, and poor judgment. His elevated mood quickly shifts from fine to irritable and then to anger. And like I said previously, his symptoms impair his relationships and daily functionings. What ways does the movie accurately represent the disorder and or misrepresent it? So I split this into 2 columns. I think that the film accurately portrays his manic symptoms, such as being irritable and impulsive. And I think it realistically shows how bipolar disorder affects relationships or the family dynamic. And I also think that they stress the importance of medication and therapy, and I think that's represented very well in this movie. I do think that the film downplays depressive episodes and focuses more on the manic episodes of bipolar disorder. And I do think that some of the behaviors are dramatized for entertainment purposes. So I think it's misrepresented in that way. How is the illness treated in the movie you chose? So he is prescribed medication to manage his symptoms, and he attends therapy sessions with a psychiatrist. He uses exercise as a coping strategy. So I included a picture of him exercising there. And then the family support is a really major role in his recovery throughout the movie. He does struggle with medication compliance. The other treatments or resources that are available for this client. So additional treatments could include mood stabilizers, psychotherapy, and psychoeducation. CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, could help manage his thought patterns and behaviors. And then joining a support group like NAMI, they offer classes for families of people with mental health, with mental illnesses. So even giving support to his family on how to talk to him and treat him to help his illness would be beneficial. Community mental health programs, just to have ongoing support, and crisis intervention, which NAMI can help with that as well. Depending on the location, there could be local counseling services and outpatient programs available. Excuse me. Some possible OT interventions. that I think that this character could benefit from. Occupational therapy could focus on Pat developing structured daily routines, and interventions may include uh, teaching stress management skills, emotional regulation skills, and social skills. An OT could help him uh, improve his participation in meaningful activities such as work and relationships, and coping strategies like exercise, but also maybe journaling could be incorporated into his daily routines, just to provide more time for self-reflection of his behaviors. The goal would be to increase his independence, his stability, and overall quality of life. So I did have some safety concerns for this client. Pat has a history of aggression, and this could be a risk to himself and to others. He's impulsive and emotionally unstable sometimes, and that could lead him to make unsafe decisions. Medication noncompliance increases the risk of relapse, just when his bipolar disorder is affecting him a lot greater than normal. So I think it's important for an OT to be able to monitor for escalation of manic symptoms and be trained in how to do that. And then just having a structured environment and a really good support system, I think would be really essential for his safety. What are the false depictions of mental illness in this form, and are there accurate depictions? So, like I said previously, I think the film does have exaggerated depictions of mental illness, including being very frequently violent or really unpredictable outbursts. I think in a lot of ways that could be what bipolar disorder is like, but that's pretty exaggerated for just what it could be realistically. I also do think that the film has the accurate depictions about his mood swings, impulsivity, decreased need for sleep, and overall difficulty just regulating his emotions. And again, I think that the struggle with relationships and routines and medication were very realistic and reflected real life challenges. So I really like the way that they did that part of the movie. Why are aspects of illness so misrepresented in media? I think that they are misrepresented to just keep the audiences engaged, and that's why they exaggerate the symptoms more. I also think there's still a lack of understanding about mental illness, just for the general person, and so that could lead to stereotypes being repeatedly shown in the media and leading everyone to have these skewed understanding of what mental illnesses look like. And here's my references. I used some of our textbooks. I got my photos from IMDb, and then the reference for the movie, and the presentation that we had on mood disorders last week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy, and I look forward to your feedback. Thanks. Bye-bye.